We are back. This is the Grunge Bible Podcast. My name is Ethan Shalloway. I'm joined by Chris Salona, and we are here with episode 171. Cannot believe it.
We are here with episode 171. I can't believe it either.
Against all odds. That's how we do it here. And yeah, this is great, Chris. I'm happy to be talking with you right now.
Yeah, me too. We're trying to thread the needle here. As we started this episode, I didn't even have the notes pulled up. I'm just pulling them up now. This is a hectic time in our lives. We're recording this on right before this comes out, pretty much. This is coming out on July 1st. So happy July. Happy Independence Day week in the States. Happy Canada Day.
Happy 4th of July.
There's a whole lot going on here. So how are you doing today, Ethan? I know you've got a little bit of a different setup behind you. I'm loving it, man.
Oh, yeah,
look at that.
Yes, yeah, so I am recording in Baton Rouge, Ellis, Louisiana, and it's funny. Yeah, I left my charger at the laptop. I left my charger in the hotel. We have about 20%. I'm at a javelin clinic that was kind of thrown together and kind of got in the car on Wednesday, right when we got back from Olympic trials. So it's been hectic, but I had the whereabouts to bring all my stuff, and I made sure that I had it with me today to do where we're having the clinic. But one thing escaped me, and that was the charger. And no problem. I'm doing really well. I'm exhausted. It is so hot. You know, it was hot in Oregon, but the South, you know, Birmingham, even when I got there, it's like the heat is different. Then you come down a little bit farther to the bayou, the swamps, and, you know, the air is sucked out of everything. So, it's, you know, it's just the heat of the summer, man. The heat of the summer.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. It's a really, really busy day for me. I'm trying to get like a bunch of different things done. I'm flying to Canada tomorrow for a couple of weeks. So last thing before you turn out the lights, obviously, is to record an episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast. So we're doing the best we can. Man. This has been a weird era of the podcast. The last couple of weeks and couple of months, and we'll probably have more on that in ensuing episodes. But that's not the day. Today's not the day for that. Today is the day for episode number 171. We've got a couple of different things on the plate here today. We're going to be following up episode 170, and we're going to talk about the Olympic trials meet that you were just at, and then we're going to talk about some This Day in Music. And there's one topic for This Day in Music that we're going to utilize as a larger portion later on in the episode. So we've got some things on the agenda, and we've got 20% battery. This is like the Blues Brothers. Like I got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, and it's 106 miles to Chicago. Yep. And it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, this is great. This feels this feels different. I like this. It's kind of
feels like, but
we're on a bullet train right now.
Yeah, so we are.
Thank you everybody for listening. If you're one of our Patreon supporters, you're a real one, especially for sticking with us. If you're not, please check the links, and there's a few ways to support. That would be awesome. If not, we'll remind you next week if you continue to listen. And
absolutely. And speaking of that, I got to run through it. It's been a while since we've said people's names. We're going to read the top tier list here.
Why not?
Why not? We're short on time. Nope. Let's extend it a little bit. So I would like to thank, it's been a while. It's summer vacation. Some people have fallen off. Some people haven't re-enrolled. So we would like to thank the people that are still with us. So that's King Buzzo Stole My Hair, Down in a Hole Flat Out Fucked, Russell, D-Boat, Gochu John, Sherry Matthews, Keith White, Corden Stewart, Apona, Granny Grunge, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Seattle 4 fanboy from New Jersey, Black Hole Sean, Nikki 6, Kara K, What the Fuck is Up, Denny's, Doug Endy, Millie, Fuck Soup, Jamie Lynn, Jade Mercado, and Carlene Salona. Thank you to the top tier, the current top tier. Moment of silence for those that we've lost along the way, but hopefully there will be more joining. Thanks to everybody who buys merch. Thanks to everybody who supports the show, who listens, who shares it with friends. And let's just keep fucking rolling here. It's good.
Exactly. It's funny. Well, what is funny? What was I going to say? I don't know. Yeah, the list is shorter, so no problem reading it. I should just make my screen black so I can't even see it, you know? Save the energy.
What's there to see?
I'm going to give live updates right now. I'm at 18% on the laptop, which is, I know what I was going to say. The nice part is my old phone that I used to have, and everybody had this problem. Once I got to like 25%, it could die.
Yeah.
And like it could lose that 20%. And
I remember that. It used to just collapse.
It was like it fell off a cliff, and you're like you're in the danger zone.
Yeah. Highway.
Luckily for this laptop, it's pretty true. So like
Right.
we'll be fine.
So we're at 18%. We're about 5 minutes in. So if my math is correct, it's going to be tight. So let's hammer this. Let's just get right into this day in music. We'll hammer that out. We'll talk about the trials. Then we'll talk about something else with this day in music. So Ethan, you want to lead us off here?
I'd love to.
All right.
In 1966, July 1st, Bob Dylan releases Blonde on Blonde, the first debut album in rock history.
First double album.
Not debut. First double album in rock history.
It's the first album to come out, guys.
Well, that's I was like surprised. So first double, that's still surprising. I guess 66. I mean,
it took a while for people to think of it.
That's pretty ridiculous, I guess.
Yeah. Double albums can be a lot. Like you've got to have some good stuff if you're going to do a double album.
Let alone maybe someone with a triple album, Well,
I mean, there's people who do that, and there's people who just like keep re-releasing new variants of the same exact album to stay at the top of the charts.
Seen that before.
We've seen that before. People have been doing that.
We'll see it again.
Interesting. The first double album in rock history. I'm sure that probably rocked people's worlds back in '66. There's a lot of albums coming out July 1st throughout the years, and we're going to move forward to 1968. And over my left shoulder, we've got it on the wall here. The band released their debut album, Music from Big Pink. And Ethan, if we had more time, I'd say we just do an episode on music from Big Pink.
Yeah,
and, we might have to in the future because this album is absolutely incredible, and it's one that holds a lot of personal lore for us. And this is essentially becoming the Lore Bible podcast instead of the Grunge Bible podcast.
It is. I mean,
we'll have to get
Big Pink has "I Shall Be Released" and "The Weight" on it, which is all you really need if you're trying to get into the band. Yeah. I mean, it is really great. I think, "Tears of Rage" is first song.
Yeah, so good.
Fan of that one. So yeah, that's great. The band is
it's the band.
Man, yeah, it's the band. What a great name. Like, and
nice,
so
and simple.
fitting that they became like. There's probably people that maybe thought about being the band, but were not good.
Nobody had the balls to.
Right. I'm just glad that they were really influential and they have the name the band.
Yeah.
Versus I
it
don't know.
Was a shitty band like Motley Crue or something.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good. Moving up, 1972, July 1st, the Doobie Brothers released their second album, Toulouse Street, and it contains their first hit, Listen to the Music, and also their cover of Jesus Is Just Alright, which gives some the impression that they were a religious band.
Jesus is just all right with me. He's not great. Right. He's just right there in the middle. The song came on at a dive bar I was at a couple of weeks ago, and it was a holy experience.
I mean, it's Doobie Brothers season. Brother.
It is Doobie Brothers season, brother.
It is Doobie Brothers season.
And this was before Michael McDonald decided to take it to the streets, too. I mean, this is right at the beginning. A stunning declaration heard around the world.
There's a few declarations. One is listen to the music, and then you get Jesus is just all right, and then you had to take it to the streets.
That song title, Jesus is just all right, that reminds me of the Springsteen lyric in Thunder Road where he says, "You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right." Like, if you're trying to convince a girl to get in the car with you and go off and chase your dreams together, I have to imagine there's more effective ways than saying hey, you're not beautiful, but you're all right, so why don't you come along? Jesus, he's not the savior. He's just all right with me. Happy birthday to that Doobie Brothers album.
Incredible.
Moving forward to a less festive occasion on this day in 1975, because we have to have Beatles in here. This is the day that Ringo Starr and his first wife Maureen were divorced. So that happens. A lot of people get married. A lot of people get divorced. A lot of people talk about the Beatles. A lot of people in the Beatles were good drummers. Ringo Starr, obviously
and
not
divorced.
being one of them. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? That's all I have to say about that. The next two kind of goes hand in hand if you really think about it.
I could see it. Yeah, I see a through line here.
So in 1979, the Sony Walkman debuts in Japan, which is incredible, and we're going to get into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then in 1997, a
big day for the virgins here. 1997.
The numbers. Yeah. Radiohead releases OK Computer, which is kind of all about technology taking over and consumers and capitalism. Maybe they did it on purpose, that they released the same time that an anniversary that the Walkman was released, almost 18 years earlier, whatever it was.
However many years.
Walkman,
you're a Radiohead guy?
Sometimes. Yeah. Depends how sad I am, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, yeah, they're good. I don't know. I think that's definitely a band, had to be their band.
Yeah, I don't get it.
To really get it and understand. It's kind of like Tool too. I mean, you can get into Tool and stuff, but that's, people are going to aggregate that conversation that I just said, that to compare those two. But
what ruins Tool for me are Tool's fans.
Right. But that's what I love
it for me.
Yeah, I love the the mosh pit memes and the memes about Tool fans. At least they have that going for them.
Yeah.
It is kind of like a thing.
It's like, it's a big club and they will never lose an opportunity to remind you that you were not in it.
So who are the worst fans? I think we may have talked about this on here.
Tool's pretty bad.
You think Tool's worse than jam band fans are pretty gatekeepy at the top?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. Yeah, I would say, Tool fans are kind of crappy. Metallica fans, I think, can be that way as well. A little bit, and then obviously you've got your jam band fans, but I feel like that's not the whole scene, though.
No, jam band fans are. Totally...
it's not the whole scene with any of these bands, but I'm out on Tool.
Makes sense. Yeah. I understand the music or the everything.
Everything ruins the music for me. Or I'm tired of coming on here for the last 3.5 years saying, oh, I'm going to have to do my research and take a dive into I just don't want to, and I'm not going to. So I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, you've done a little bit and it didn't captivate you enough. So
I've done enough. Yeah. I've got my limits too.
You've done well. That's funny. I got my limits too. I love that. I have my limits, brother.
I'm gonna draw a line in the sand.
It's a principle. It's a matter of it's like my dad says, you can't support everybody.
No, you can't.
You can't. You gotta at some point you gotta pick and choose.
I'm exhausted.
Right. Exactly.
Fuck. Well, that's a good this day in music here. So
I was just gonna say, out of those, we got the band, Doobie Brothers, Radiohead, the Beatles, of course, and Bob Dylan. Who's getting played first on 4th of July for you?
Oh man, it's got to be the Doobie Brothers, I think. I would say you could make a pretty solid summer playlist with some of these guys here.
Yeah, you got the band. The band. I think Doobie Brothers is first.
Yeah,
but then the band is a close second.
Yeah, Up on Cripple Creek. I know it's not from music from Big Pink, but I mean, from the band.
Yeah, it's really solid. I don't know if OK Computer's going to be played much.
That's for afterwards when everybody's gone home and you're just stuck with yourself.
That's for July 5th.
Exactly.
Awesome. That's good. I've definitely, man, music, side note, this is just, I don't know, a little tangent, but, I appreciation for music, though. Sometimes, we talk about a lot, we listen to a lot of music, man, and I'm so thankful that we have really good music to listen to and consume daily in so many different ways. I mean, it really does, it helps, it makes pretty much every situation better. There's not many times that, I put on music and think it was a bad choice, basically.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad there's so much of it. I've been in a pretty big rut for the last couple of months as it relates to music. I've just been struggling to find something that I'm into at this point in time, and I'm searching and it's just not working. And then I just recently I've just realized that there's no pressure, just whatever you want to, just find that and just take it easy. And I've been enjoying stuff a lot more, but I'm glad there's so many areas to go into, because I've certainly left a lot of the areas that I used to spend a lot of time in musically. So
you went back and you went back to the place you were and it wasn't there anymore, basically.
Exactly. You can easily return to the past, but no one is there.
Yeah, there it is. I love those Spotify memes that are out there. It's I know how to shuffle. It's do you really know how to do a shuffle? They don't really do a good job of getting new music.
No, they do an abysmal job. They're really fucking bad.
They're really bad, but we're so lazy at times to make our own. So
yeah,
I mean, you're not, but for music discovery purposes, it's a task.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll get back to the music and how we consume music. But first off,
we will.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the trials that passed. So the last episode was good, right? We were able to talk about it. I listened to it with my family after the trials because it's nice because everybody's asking these questions, and I have this thing that I've been here. Listen to this.
It's twofold. It gets our listener base up.
Yes, Stonks. It does that too. Like, you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah. So, but it allows them to, hopefully answer some questions about how I was feeling going into it and what the season looked like. That's amazing. Who is that? Stonks. So I finished. So it was a 2-day final, and I made the final. So I was in the top 12 moving the final day, and that was a really nice accomplishment. And I finished 12th in the U.S. I had a pretty bad day. It was weird. It was very numbing. It was a different experience than I've had before. And I'll say it like this. It's nothing to write home about the finish, but it's nothing to be upset about either. Like, making the final day, being top 12. The distance wasn't a good representation of my throw. I threw 70 meters in the first day, and the third one I had 2 fouls to start off, and then I kind of just kept my last one, but it wasn't very good. I'm not even gonna say it. But it wasn't a good representation.
Yeah.
It was a really big moment. These come around every 4 years. They come around once every 1 year, and I was trying to ask. And I don't know, I'm not sure if we talked about it, but how would you explain or compare training for something all year and then not getting the result that you want? What is a comparable situation to that in life? Because it's a weird thing to talk about, especially when you put all this front end. And I have one example that fits really well. But what's something that could compare to, say, this build up to something and then kind of being, I'll say, let down?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that compare to it. I mean, in your professional life, obviously with a job that can happen, family life, when you invest a lot of your time and focus into somebody and trying to assist them and certain things don't work out. And that's truly one of the tougher lessons in life. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio of getting back what you put in. And oftentimes, I think with everything, you put more into it than you end up getting out of it. And it's unfortunate because I feel like that's not a lesson that's taught greatly, because it's a delicate kind of thought process or a delicate thing to explain, because you don't want to snuff people's dreams and you don't want to snuff their aspirational aspects to them, in teaching them. It's hey, you might not, because you want people to put everything they have into things and see really how far they can take it. But it really does stink, because a lot of times too, it's not just what you get back. It's sometimes it's out of your control, right? You can put everything in and then the result is not as much having to do with what you did as you would hope. Things happen out of your control, like injuries, or there could be something adverse that happens in your company, right? Or something, one of your family members could get sick, or different things like that nobody earned, nobody intended to have happen, and you just have to deal with it. But those are the moments that I think are great teachers, and certainly athletics, as you know, and as I've learned too. I mean, they're one of the great teachers, for people, and I think especially young people.
Yeah, the parallel that we talked about is simply, if you're trying to, say, take the bar exam or a big exam to get something, and you study and do something for 9 months leading up to try to pass a class, or most importantly, take a test so you don't have to repeat that year. Let's say you fail the bar exam, you have to reapply and do it all over again, spend the money, spend the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really tough, because obviously, you're always going to ask, could I studied more? Could I did this? How do you get that experience and stuff? And it, it is difficult, but there's always silver linings. Silver lining. I think we may have. There's been so many episodes. I feel like we talked about, in some philosophical debate, we talked about silver linings.
I bet we have. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sometimes it feels like a cop out because you didn't succeed exactly what you wanted to, but it's really important because, like you said, you can't control the outcomes. So my father said, I think on the podcast 2 weeks ago, he said, you can't control outcomes. You can control everything else. And that kind of goes into it. And, how you respond to said outcome. And, Yeah, like with having the shoulder surgery in November, I think making it to the trials and being able to put up a good first mark to get to the second day was really important for me. And had I not done that, you still could work around it, I guess. But competing 2 days later was a difficult task. I felt really good. I didn't feel any pressure. Had a lot of experience that I felt like came through and showed itself. So it was really solid. And I had a conversation earlier. I mean, and we've talked about this a lot. Your results are not what define you all the time. Yes, it helps. There's not, but like it's not going to make or break you in a lot of ways. In this sport for where I'm at, basically.
Absolutely.
Being an Olympian would be really, really great, but it wouldn't. It probably wouldn't move the needle more than something else. It's just like the position. Like it would be really cool, but it's like, okay, that's not really the position in the sport that I've been put in and I've been blessed with. There's a lot of other things that are probably more important than necessarily just that result. So yeah, I'm gonna hang my head high and be really proud of this year and everything that led up to it. We still got to meet in 2 weeks in Stroudsburg that I'm really excited for reasons we talked about. It's just gonna be family, fun, and a good atmosphere. So and then we'll take our licks and we'll move on and we'll make a plan for next year and the years to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I once saw a seminar discussion that Pedro Martinez, the great baseball pitcher, held once, probably 7, 8, 10 years ago or so. And he said, and I always think about this, he said, there's no failure in effort, and that kind of ties into the man in the arena type stuff. And it doesn't always have to be an absolute, right? Like you can find silver linings and still be disappointed and still not be satisfied and everything. I mean, it's like what we always say, going back even before the podcast, way back to, when we were competing, like when you do something, you commit to all of it. You commit to all of the heartache, you commit to the pain, you commit to the setbacks, just the same way that you're committed to searching for those leaps forward that you find in time. You can't pick and choose, what journeys give to you. When you're walking on that path, you have to walk through and experience everything along that path.
Yeah, absolutely. We can, come back next year and the success will be that much greater. You know what I mean? It's like when you do have those failures and you do have things that maybe set you back, it really allows you to appreciate the good times and the times that you're being successful. So I think that's the most important thing to kind of move and apply to real life, because there's a lot of stuff that goes wrong in real life, a lot of things that don't go the way you think it should, maybe unfair for be a context for what fair is, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, it allows you to, when you get to where you want to be, you're going to be a lot more, say, validated and a lot more proud of everything you've overcome than if it was just handed to you. I mean, that's just,
Absolutely.
You need to learning how to deal with failure and is how you learn how to be successful.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I agree, man.
No problem. I'm good. I'm happy. No problem.
Always
now it's
forward.
Summertime. Yeah, always forward. Exactly. And it's great. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. I mean, it was a really good experience, my family there. The last thing I'll say is one of my favorite things about still doing this is the excitement that surrounds it. Yeah. It's hard to really get excited for stuff. That's not completely true, but when things happen, like this was like the Olympic trials, like it comes every 4 years. It's like, it's a very small opportunity. And then we made the final. For those 2 days, like going into it, I was like, I feel great. Nothing could really knock me down because there's so much possibility that was going to happen on Sunday at 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? It was like that hour is exciting, like, cause there's so many things that could happen, and you see it all over the track. There's so much excitement and buzz going into it because everybody has this, it's like literally, it's like it's a contest, it's like
there's excitement and possibility. You're exactly right.
And like exactly that, I'm just, my family's out there like, thank you. And I'm really glad that I can bring excitement to and allow us to all look forward to something. And that is that's really special. So
yeah, well, and there's people even from this space of your life and this space of our lives that, you know, contacted you or contacted me to ask how to follow along, and that they were watching and chatting with me while you were competing. And it's just like you said, it's just one of those things where, you know, even in tough moments, it's a blessing to be reminded of the people that are in your corner. And this is certainly one of those moments.
I had an outpour of support from everybody, a lot of friends and old friends, acquaintances, and most importantly, family. A lot of family that, you know, people were able to watch and be able to, all of a sudden, like, there's a lot of dialogue between different branches that may not have happened. And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty great. You know what I mean? That's really cool to kind of facilitate, I guess. And
absolutely.
I really felt the support from everyone. It was awesome. I was like, wow, you know, after the prelims and I'd made it, I was like, wow, a lot of people were watching. A lot of people had said something like, good job. So that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so that's all we're going to talk about for athletics. Maybe we'll give an update in 2 weeks. If I don't do well, we won't.
The ball is in your court. Let's get a battery check, Ethan.
I was about to say, update on the battery. Curious, what would you guess? We started at 20, I think it was.
I'm guessing you're at 11.
12.
All right, this is good. We're halfway through the episode.
We just lost 2% pretty quick. I'm surprised. So
okay.
Anyway, moving on. One thing I want to bring up too. Independence Day, the movie. Have you watched it, Chris?
I've never seen it.
Seriously?
I've never seen it. No.
I
was confused as to what these notes are here. Aliens attack the world and destroy major cities. I was like, what does that? What does that have to do with the Walkman or the U.S. Olympic trials?
Donnie, what the fuck does this have to do with?
Why does everything have to do with Vietnam?
They got good burgers.
You're the In-N-Out burger.
Independence Day, the movie is based around, they get attacked on July 2nd and they band together on July 4th. But as Will Smith, and it was one of those movies I watched as a kid it's really well done. It's awesome. And I think I need to watch that. That and Armageddon. Armageddon's really good. I hope you've seen that.
Haven't seen that one either.
Oh, well, you are flying soon, so I think potentially look into it.
5 a.m. I think I'm gonna be sleeping there, brother.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's very true.
Okay, so the Walkman came out. Was that 20?
On this day in 1979.
27 years ago.
1979 was more than 27
79.
years ago.
I was thinking about OK Computer came out 27 years ago.
He's got Radiohead on the mind. You know what that means.
Yeah.
Somebody just broke his heart.
That's amazing. Pretty revolutionary. The idea that you now could have music with you while you're moving and while you're kind of like, I mean, honestly, going for a run.
Something we take for granted.
Something that literally is taken for granted every second of the day.
Like, it's been a standard for my entire life. You know, I've never had to second guess or I never had to learn that was a possibility, right? And I mean, that's probably got to be one of the most consequential inventions in terms of music, right?
I mean, yeah, you go back to recording. I mean, the guitar, someone making the guitar was probably. But yeah, I mean, it would definitely rank up there. So what we wanted to do was kind of make a ranking of best ways to consume music, the ways that we like to listen. And, you know, just there, because there's so many different ways you can take in music and experience it. And we won't get, the list is not going to be, you know, an exhaustive list. There's there's so many more scenarios, you know, super specific lore that we would want to talk about.
We don't have music boxes on the list, for example. We don't have, you know, a lot of ways that people could potentially listen. Yeah, but this kind of got us thinking, you know, as technology has advanced, so too have the ways that, you know, we can all listen to music, and everybody at this point has a lot of choice when it comes to how they consume music. I mean, you can see it, you can own it yourself, and when you own it yourself, you have so many different ways to, you know, to choose to access it. So it was interesting just to kind of think about that and discuss, as we will right now, you know, our favorite ways. So Ethan, with the battery being low, I think you've got to get this thing started here. Now,
do you want me to run through the list necessarily, or do you want me to go one by one type of thing, or do you want to?
Yeah, I think you run through the list.
Okay. Or is your miss mirror mine by chance in any?
It's similar.
Yeah. So maybe we can do two at once. So I put number 6. I'm doing a top 6. I think headphones. I enjoy headphones, right? But I actually do not love them. So headphones offer a really nice experience for when you want to just tune stuff out. It's really good for obviously on the plane. But I actually don't enjoy, like when I'm lifting, like I want speakers over headphones every day of the week. I don't like, okay, I guess that's if I'm in public gym, maybe I want to disappear. But like, I don't like losing my awareness to everything around me. Like I want to be, I mean, I guess if I'm sitting, I guess you want to get lost in the music, but like, I think about like being unaware and maybe losing kind of thing. I'd rather share the excitement of like it being played on speakers and some more group activity listening that we'll kind of get into later. I do enjoy the personal side of headphones sometimes, and they are really good quality. Maybe it's a little bit better to get involved, but like I'm going to leave that at my number 6 because I'd rather be aware and not have to like totally tune out the people around me. Unless I'm by myself, but then maybe I'll just play the music out loud. I get a speaker, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'll keep going. Number 5, so I put CDs, you listen to CDs. I don't really know if that's not really a way to listen, but that is a format.
The boombox, man.
Well, say if it's a boombox and it's coming out of the stereo, maybe that's a little different. I was thinking about like a Walkman and being in the ears. But the nice part about CDs is you listen front to back. And I think that is a trait that needs to be highlighted because people like doing that now. Yeah. Vinyl, which I'll get to. So having to listen front to back is something that I enjoy. You just have to be, limited, I guess, to one artist per CD, which, depending on what you want. Number 4, I love being in a studio. I think this is the best way to consume music if you want quality, is to be in the studio with somebody and have like a really nice, setup where, so I don't, it's not like completely in the ears, but you can feel it with your body and it's way more submersive, like in a movie theater, like when a really good stereo is set up.
Okay. Yeah. That parallel makes sense to me.
Yeah. Like, so when it's in your ears, you're going to, you can hear some things deeply, but when it's all around you, it's a little more body feel. I don't know. Maybe you're listening with your calves, I'm not sure how the body may work like that. We don't know. But so I think that a recording studio or some type of just basically a really nice, if you can have access to some really nice, speakers. But at the same time, sometimes there's the raggedy ones like the radio, which is up a little bit higher. Maybe that's all you need. Number 3, I put vinyl. I think the nice part about vinyl is same thing front to back, but I have it in it's in your safe spot. Most all the time, it's going to be in your comfort area, which is like your living room, your bedroom. Right. Mine's like in between, like right by the kitchen and the bed. So every time I'm making food, or if I just want to relax, like the vinyl comes in and it puts me in a really good state. So I think that same thing front to back. You have to flip it. There's something. Maybe my speakers aren't as good. Some people say vinyl, like you hear things, it sounds different.
Yeah,
which I would agree.
Get a nice setup. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think my setup is all that great to really get like, I don't know, get that increase in vintage sounding that that people talk about.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy vinyl. So that's number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna say radio. I love the radio. I love the randomness. It's a much better job than shuffle and CD. Like I do like things front to back, but like coming on the radio, the excitement you get from hearing a song pop on that you haven't heard in a while, that really fires me up. I like the anticipation behind it. So, and we're talking driving in a car, we're talking party. You put on a outside 4th of July party, putting on the radio. And you got the DJs, of course. You got the DJs in the back.
We know well about that.
The tune weavers of the world going in and out. I love that. And then finally, I had to go with live as my number 1 for same reasons as it's like a combination of everything. 1, they're very submersive. You're in the music. Sometimes maybe the music, the sound quality is not all that great, but like it is an atmosphere which is very unique.
It's an energy that's unique.
It's an energy. I think that there's also the anticipation of your favorite song. So when it comes on, you're very excited. And lastly, you're most likely going to get different variations of songs, maybe some covers that they don't play, but like that idea that they can kind of do as they please with solos and all that stuff. You're going to get versions that are very particular to that moment. And I think that's a great experience. So yeah, live's got to be number one. I mean, can't beat being in the moment when it's happening, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think live's definitely the undisputed champ.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to argue, you know, so if we were at a first take segment, maybe I could argue something else, but it's hard to argue.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to run through my list real quick from bottom to top here. I don't have a studio on my list because I've not had that experience before. So checking it at number 5 for me would be CDs. I don't really vibe too much with the nostalgia aspect of CDs because for me, they were just a utility for a while, but I've just kind of moved on. I appreciate the burning CDs aspect, which we've definitely spoken about before. Number 4 for me is going to be vinyl. I appreciate vinyl. I have vinyl, I lowercase c collect it a little bit. I'll purchase a record of an artist to support them, but I don't have a great setup. And for me, because I don't have a great setup, I often just kind of choose to consume music in other ways. It's just easier for me. So it's just born out of laziness that it's so low for me. Number 3, would be radio. So what I appreciate about radio and live music as well, in a world where currently so much of music consumption is predicated on choice. It's just all about choice. And it's just nice when you're listening to the radio and when you're at a live show, you're not in control of what's coming next, right?
Right.
And it's that aspect of excitement that you alluded to earlier that is the reason why it's so high. And if any of these has a nostalgic kick for me, it would be radio. It wouldn't be the CD and it wouldn't be a vinyl record. So radio is always going to be up there. Number 2 for me is headphones. This was low on your list, but hear me out.
Last on my list.
I love the headphones, listening to music through headphones, because anywhere that I am, no matter what's going on, I can immediately transport myself to a world. Right. And you spoke to the aspect of kind of blocking things out as potentially being a negative at points, which it certainly can be, right? But I think it's overwhelmingly positive. When you're you're on a bus or something, or you're traveling, or you're just kind of walking down the street, or even if you're at home and you just kind of really want to just go somewhere else. The transportational aspect of listening to music when it's right here, is beaten by few things in this world, I think. And for that reason, it's going to be number 2 for me. And number 1, no debate here, live music. It's always funny. There was this shitty little bar that's a town over from me that I can't imagine how much live music they ever had there, but for years, their little checkerboard thing out front, the message board, it used to say, "You can't download a live music experience." And I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know who was playing live there, but it's true. That's where you got to hear it, because you can connect to the energy. And I mean, shit, you're with the people who are making the music. And it doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, you never know. It could be a Woodstock 99.
You never know.
A classic Woodstock. Or,
or it could be shit.
Or it could be shit.
It's all chance. You're taking that element of control out.
Yeah. You could. What's that guy that came on the Canned Heat stage and took Bob Height's cigarette? Or whatever that guy's name was. I mean, you just never know, and you could be brought up on stage and stuff, and all of a sudden you have memories attached to it. So yeah. Yeah, the headphones is a difficult.
Pete the Greek from Yeadon, Pennsylvania.
Pete the Greek. See, how did he get the nickname? He just showed up once. I love it.
Just Pete the Greek.
They all had nicknames. Yeah, headphones. I find myself when I'm at my house, I'm always plugging into the speaker, or
that's fair.
Or if I'm putting on vinyl, or if it comes out, I feel like I do that, and mainly I just think that I get annoyed with stuff in my ears. Not severely.
That's fair.
And if I'm in public, I just, it's definitely a sign of don't talk to me. Chip would always tell us that he's they're not even listening to music. They just don't want to be talked to.
Next level. You're playing chess there.
Yeah. But I agree. It really does transport you whenever you're in transit.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a lifesaver. Well, because again, then you don't people know not to do not disturb.
How much battery do you have right now? I want to see if I have the ability to go on a little.
Believe it or not, we were at 11, Chris.
Oh, we're playing with house money. All right,
we are good.
I'm telling a story then.
The double 1%.
I don't know if you've seen it, but there was like an Instagram post on like one of the famous meme pages, and it was just kind of like a compilation, and it was trying to prove the point that like there's a new trend that has become all the rage when it comes to flying, and it's like men everywhere are beginning to raw dog their flights, where like a la David Putty, where they just sit there with nothing to read, nothing to listen to, nothing to watch, and they just stare into the back of the seat in front of them.
You can do that in the car too. Raw dog a road trip of 6 hours.
Absolutely. There's this guy on TikTok who does like absolutely masochistic challenges like that, where like he did one where it was like he's gonna sit there and count to 1,000,000, or he's sitting there in front of an analog clock and he watches it for 24 hours. Like there's just these absolute and like there's no
way he counted to 1,000,000.
No, he did. No. Like he live streamed it, Ethan.
Okay, so I'm assuming that'll take 1 second per number.
It took a ridiculously long time. Yes, like he said, he was hallucinating at different points. But think about like the dopamine rehabilitation that would do. I mean, like we're just like charging ourselves full of dopamine every day, and this guy's like, let me just sit in a room and look at a clock for 24 hours. Crazy. I think he did another one where he spent like. It was like a certain like 3 days in a row or something, like in pitch black darkness, and like he wasn't allowed to sleep or something. It was like completely ridiculous stuff like that. I mean, I couldn't I have 2 flights I'm taking tomorrow. They're both like 90 minutes apiece. Like you better believe I got the headphones charged. I got the movies downloaded. I got the Zin. I got the
playing
caffeine.
Poker.
Yeah, I'm buying and selling stocks. Like anything to keep me from the task at hand. I will tell you though, I use like I'll watch TikTok videos and stuff, like I'll scroll. I am so conscious of the fact that like my attention span has been absolutely wrecked in the last few years. Like sitting down, like watching a game or something, if I'm alone, like I'm just like scrolling the whole time. It's terrible. I need to stop doing it. It's dangerous. It's not good for me.
I would agree, man. It's just, I can't imagine it being good for everybody. You got the low battery signal, 10%. We have plenty of time.
I'm not worried about it. This is like when you're driving, you know, you're going down to eat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's such a shame. The attention span, I think it is really, it's hard to like state how important it is. Yeah. I guess when people don't have it, like right now, I mean, people just, you don't really realize that what you're missing, I guess, like, what it was like back 15 years ago on the back porch or something. So I don't know. It's tough to go into all that, but
yeah,
I'm my friend, one of our friends, he did a road trip and he said he had static on his radio and he let it play like the entire time. Wow. He just raw dogged a static radio station for like 6 hours or something.
Jesus, good for him.
That's difficult. Yeah,
that is challenging.
Dude, I've had the last few times I've traveled, and we just went to lunch too, and there's been babies that have been very unhappy. Last few travels I've had, there has been some yelling babies, some screaming babies. Thank God I had my headphones, but they still cut through. I could not believe. I haven't had. Usually I'm pretty good. I couldn't believe how many babies were on these flights that I've been on.
I know.
They were all yelling.
That makes me nervous. I hope there's no babies flying from Providence to Toronto tomorrow.
At 5 a.m.
At 5 a.m.
What could the babies need to be doing in Toronto?
Yeah, what do they need to be there for? They're going up there to celebrate Canada Day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough traveling, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to be stationary for a little bit.
Get off the road for a bit, yeah.
I'm definitely to that point of the year and season. I've done a lot of flying.
Yeah.
And I can almost guarantee I'm going to be driving to Pennsylvania. So I'm on my own terms, my own path, and I can do whatever I need to do,
Absolutely. Get the control, take the power back.
Mm-hmm. Any chance I'll be seeing you? Are you going to be flying back that day?
I'm flying back that night into Providence. Yeah.
That's what I feared.
Yeah, it's the 13th, and I don't get back. Like if I flew back on the 12th, it was like triple the money, and then if I flew back, I mean, it wouldn't have helped to fly back on the 14th for our purposes of me coming to Jab Fest. It was the same thing. Yeah. So flight, like, I don't know. I've had really bad luck the last like 3 or 4 like trips that I've booked. Like things have just gotten so expensive. And like, I got to book something. I'm going to visit my brother who lives like in North Carolina. I'm visiting him in July. I still haven't booked a ticket, and it's not going to be cheap. It's tough out here, man.
It really is. The flights are really expensive all the time. And I mean, it's tough to plan. I feel like travel, I mean, for vacation, things you can plan ahead, but I feel like business and there's a bunch of other stuff where, my track season specifically, like, we don't know with much advance. I mean, there's a lot of travel that happens and they still kind of rail you for it. Like
the price is what the price is. Exactly.
You think they used to move the price down when it got close to,
none of that anymore. You reach the point of no return.
Then it just keeps going up.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Happy birthday to the Walkman. That is pretty great. I think that I'll be listening to a lot of music, on July 4th, and hopefully outside with a cold beer in my hand. And
absolutely.
At least a kiddie pool to be sitting in, because it is hot down here.
Hopefully. Yeah, you need that. You've definitely earned that.
Yeah. Anything else, Chris?
No, just I've got a song of the week to contribute to the record.
To the chaos.
Here, if you do as well.
Yeah, I can have a song of the week. I didn't have one picked out, but that's no problem.
That's okay. I'll go first then, and I'm sure that you would probably be able to guess what I'm going to choose right now, given the excitement level of our discussion of it very recently. But my song of the week's got to be "Jesus Is Just All Right With Me" from the Doobie Brothers.
That's awesome.
There's nowhere else for me to go. I was thinking about picking 4th of July by Soundgarden, but I think I've chosen that before, and we did an episode on it in 2022 during Independence Day week. So I'm eschewing all of that, and I'm kicking it with the Brothers Doobie. Jesus is just all right with me. I just added that to my summer playlist.
It's such a good song. Such a good song.
Yeah,
You said the Doobie Brothers are hot this summer, as they always are.
Yeah.
For my song, I'm going to go, and this one is a shout out for you, a Canada band that we didn't get into today, but we got the tragically hip Get Back Again.
Oh, and,
it for some reason it popped up on my Spotify soon after the trials ended, and I was in space and time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to figure it out, and I listened to it, and man, something about Gord's voice was really, really comforting.
Oh, yeah.
And I listened to it a lot, and I there was something about it. It was really calming. So it was a no-brainer. That is really, really a great song. His voice is something special. It's just very unique, and they got, especially when they break it down. I mean, I like their harder stuff and their rock and roll, but man, when it's kind of like vocal led and
Gord can shine.
And Gord can shine. Yeah, it's really, man, I love it. So
special stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. So he'll be on the summer playlist for sure.
Oh, yeah. He'll be making an appearance. Ethan, I'm glad we were able to get that done. I hope everybody out there listening enjoyed that. You truly do not understand how difficult it was to find a common time to record this before I leave. But we did it, and it's on here now for the record, for everyone to listen to. So thank you, wherever you are. I hope you're doing great. If it's a holiday weekend for you, whatever, have a good one. And if it's not, have a good one anyways, and we'll keep it rolling here. But that'll close episode 171 of the GBPC.
See you later, knuckleheads. And good night, Canada.
Good night, Canada. Good morning, Canada, for me tomorrow, man.
Good morning, Canada.
All right, Ethan, take care of yourself, brother. Take care of everybody out there. Rock and roll. Stay heavy. Yeah, man.
All right, Chris. Just remember, everybody, Jesus is just all right.
He's just all right with me.
See you, Chris.
See ya.